Well, we're back with our backup match. We've got about 12 to 15 minutes left in the round. It's not clear to me which one. We have a returning competitor in Corey Miller from a last round with 5-color humans, and we will have him facing off against Jund. The matchup currently is
Matchup is currently 1-1. We are going to game 3. So Corey Miller we had on last round, so we kind of know about his deck already. So
Yep.
let's look at David Orwig's Jund list here.
His list is 4 Goy, 4 Bloodbraid Elf, 3 Scavenging Ooze, 2 Seasoned Pyromancer, which is a touch I really like, 4 Inquisition of Kozilek, 4 Lightning Bolt, 2 Fatal Push, 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Colligan's Command, a Maelstrom Pulse, an Abrupt Decay, an Assassin's Trophy, the 4 Liliana, the Veil, 3 Ren, and 6.
Man, it's a pretty stock list.
The stock list in the main deck, the sideboard appears to be 3 Fulminator Mage, 2 Collective Brutality, a Huntmaster of the Fells, 2 Plague Engineer, which are going to come up really big in this matchup against tribal dudes. 1 Ancient Grudge, a Collector Roof, a Kitchen Finks, a Weather the Storm, a Nihil Spellbomb, an Alpine Moon, and a Choke. From this sideboard, I expect fully to see the 2 Plague Engineers. I'm not sure if anything other than that and the 2 Collective Brutality really need to come in.
Not really.
You're Jund in this matchup. Your ability to point and click to kill is pretty high.
I mean,
and Plague Engineer provides a really high barrier of entry for humans in the matchup.
Yeah. Depending on what else you wanted to bring out. Now, having played humans, Jund is not a good matchup. Like, having been on that side.
Right.
And it's, depending on your sideboard, it typically gets worse post-board. Even Fulminator Mage can be really bad for you. You Bloodbraid Elf into that, and then you get to block their Champion of the Parish and wreck one of their lands.
And typically in the Jund matchup, humans decks have a tendency to board out, depending on player draw, at least 3 of their Aether Vials, right?
That is the common theme. I'm on the opposite. As a humans player, I'm actually on the opposite side of that because, I would rather keep a hand with like one land, 1 Aether Vial.
Okay.
I think it's usually going to be better to make sure I'm able to play my guys on time.
Okay. Or
now
to do multiple things at a time.
Yeah, or to be able to do things at instant speed as well. That can be extremely relevant.
So he's got 2 lands, it looks like, on Corey's side.
I see a champ.
I see a Thalia.
I see a Noble Hierarch. Like, that's a keep. Like, that's an easy keep. I'm not sure what the white card is on the far left.
On the far left, that's a Mirren Crusader, my friend.
Oh, that feels so good in this matchup.
It does.
Now, I mean, yes, your opponent has 4 Lightning Bolts. That is the only card they have that kills your Mirren Crusader.
Although, it should be noted, Plague Engineer does shrink it.
It does shrink it to a 1/1.
Far less impressive card when it's a double striking 1/1.
Agreed.
There's
All
our
right.
Noble.
Which makes sense to be turn 1 right there.
Now we're going to do Jund things and shock ourselves. And it looks like we're probably going to play either a Bolt here. There's the Bolt.
Yep.
Okay.
Which that's going to feel a lot worse when that Mirren Crusader comes down.
That's a Deputy of Detention in his hand. That feels bad having the Thalia resolve against you, too.
Oh, yeah. There are things in the humans deck that are good against Jund, but Jund, it really depends on which shell of his deck he drew, because Jund is kind of that deck it's like 3 decks in one. You've got your creature package, your hand disruption, and your removal.
Right.
If you draw the removal, that's what gives humans a hard time. Also, typically your creatures are typically better, except for whatever you've grown to unreasonable, size.
Right.
So your champ is usually fine. Your Thalia's Lieutenant's usually fine. Everything else is kind of meh. And that is that's a 3/4 Tarmogoyf already.
That's right. Now, Corey has a Deputy of Detention on his side and a Mirren Crusader. And that Mirren Crusader is going to do work here.
And I believe that Mirren Crusader is coming right to the board. Especially since you saw Lightning Bolt go away already, like that feels real good to run out Mirren Crusader.
Yeah. I was on the receiving end of entirely too many Mirren Crusaders. There's the Bolt.
Second Bolt.
Second Bolt. Far too many Mirren Crusaders when it was in Standard.
I remember I played several of those Mirren Crusaders when they were in Standard. I love that card.
And he's going to get in for some damage.
I believe it's still 3.
Yes, it hasn't changed.
Of all the things about Tarmogoyf that I dislike the most, it's the fact that you have to keep double checking his power toughness.
If it had entered with counters equal to the number of different cards,
Yeah,
it would be
like
a different ability.
Yes.
It
Also would not.
It wouldn't be a Lurgoyf.
No, it would not. It also wouldn't be, over $100 for years on end. So, all right. So that is
You
another.
drew 2 bolts. Did you draw 2 Mirren Crusaders? Yes, you did, Corey Miller. Good for you.
Yeah, I'll agree. Second bolt is rough, but does he have a third, Phil? That's Phil commenting on our stream there. We'll find out that answer soon.
He has a... That costs
yes.
4.
Yes, indeed it does.
Your opponent is correct, David Orwig. I've made that mistake myself.
As have I.
Ouch. That's going to be a shock for 2, and now he'll pay what feels like a fairer rate for Liliana of the Veil.
At 4 mana, you don't feel nearly as bad.
Yeah, the card's not nearly as good
Correct.
at 4 mana. Doesn't curve as smoothly.
No, it does not. Well, and David already down to 13 and expecting to take 4 from that Mirror Crusader this turn.
Along with the Mantis Rider in Corey's hand, which will kill the Liliana if he wants it to.
That's where I would go. Like, you don't want Liliana hanging around if you can help it. Ticked himself down damage.
Do it now.
Yep, that is the correct play.
This is really, really going well for Corey, all things being equal. He's got...
Yep.
He still has cards in hand. His resources haven't been taxed beyond that 1-for-1, very traditional Jund 1-for-1 trade.
And having the reason David's still in this is he has had some of the correct answers to the correct threats.
Yeah.
I mean, it's famous Patrick Chapin quote. There are no wrong threats, only wrong answers. Like if he had drawn Abrupt Decay, instead of those lightning bolts, then he'd be facing 2 Mirror Crusaders and probably dead next turn. But since he's at least only facing 1, he has at least an extra turn or 2 in order to fight through this.
Is that a second? Oh, that's a Maelstrom Pulse.
Yep. Hits what it can, and Tarmogoyf. I believe we added sorcery, so I believe we're at 4.
We're at 5 with a Planeswalker.
Oh, that's right, Liliana. And I believe that's what they're agreeing on is how big Tarmogoyf is.
He's deciding.
Yep.
That's going to be a big old chunk. Now, if something like Athalia's Lieutenant comes down here to put a counter on the Mirror Crusader, that is not quite lights out, but it is not good for the situation.
It is really not good. Oh, and he's got a Noble Hierarch.
He does.
So
he's going to take another pain from his land there and
he's
play
going to
a
go with
combo.
Well, that makes the removal feel even worse, and makes the race really bad, because not only is it drain David for 2, it gains him 2. It's not an obvious choice out of the human sideboard, but it is still a good choice in this matchup.
Yeah. This is a proper hell in a cell for David Orwig right now.
Yep.
If I'm the Jund player, I don't know what I'm going to do. If I'm the Jund player, I don't know what I'm going to do to get out of this mess. He's tapping mana, though. Spinning the wheel on a Bloodbraid Elf. I guess that's what you do.
All right, that's what you do. Oh.
Seasoned Pyromancer is terrific.
That blocks Mirror Crusader.
Yes,
so that does answer the problem, even if only temporarily.
And he discards a Fulminator Mage and a second Bloodbraid Elf to make 2 1/1 elementals. That buys you some time against a Mirror Crusader.
They are also red. Now, I mean, in a pinch, he could actually throw all of them in front.
And he draws 3 new cards.
Yeah, I
2
mean,
new cards.
Yeah, and he could actually throw all of them in front, and Mirror Crusader would die.
Sure.
He would kill all of the things, but you would at least get that Mirror Crusader off the board, which is what you need most from Jund right now.
Supremely important to note here is that Bloodbraid Elf is a creature, and Seasoned Pyromancer is a creature.
Which means he took 0 damage off combo.
That's right. He just gets to free roll a little combat here. Again, I think we're still the same size on the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, we should still be at 9. He didn't discard anything that wasn't already there.
So he's attacking for 8?
Yeah. And you do not... I mean, if he had Lightning Bolt, well, maybe he's sitting on Lightning Bolt.
He did draw 2 cards.
He did draw 2 cards. He could just have Lightning Bolt and be good here. So I assume we're thinking about...
forcing the block.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for David here. And then he takes the 3. I don't know.
That definitely changed things.
Seasoned Pyromancer just dug David out of the immediate danger he was in.
He was definitely Ralph on the bus. He was definitely in danger there.
Oh, man. Now from
So,
here we have a Deputy of Detention as well as a Reflector Mage in our hand from Corey Miller. He's going to play the
correct.
Noble Hierarch to give Exalted to the Mirren Crusader.
Yep. And then takes his 1. But
Now the challenge here is that the Exalted actually makes this unfavorable for David to do anything beyond chump block.
correct, because now you're 3/3.
He's going to hit the tokens.
Yep, that makes sense.
That exiles them both.
Yep, and they never come back because they are tokens. And then it looks like he passed. Now he does get to free roll block Tarmogoyf with Mirren Crusader.
Yep.
But 7 versus 5, that's a dangerous road up. And that does still leave the Reflector Mage in hand. So if David tries to be overly aggressive here, that can put him in the situation where Corey can just beat him with a Reflector Mage.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on what David... Did you see what David drew?
I did not.
His elbow happens to be right where our camera is, so that's okay.
David's playing it close to the chest.
Yep. And he's in the tank, so it must be... My guess is it's a removal spell. If he's tanking on, he's probably trying to decide which thing is the biggest problem, or whether he should be pushing through damage.
He's also probably doing the math on activating the Raging Ravine.
Oh, I saw Bloodbraid Elf.
Oh, sure.
So, I mean, that would be the choice. Bloodbraid Elf having haste is a relevant line of text, but with Mirren Crusader on the defense, are you even able to attack here? Even if you Bloodbraid Elf, like what do you have to Bloodbraid Elf into to attack?
Lightning Bolt. If you Bloodbraid into the Lightning Bolt, you actually just have it.
Because you Lightning Bolt the Mirren Crusader and then jam from there.
Yeah. And it looks like he's setting aside mana.
No.
Plague Engineer is a heck of a play.
Oof.
Naming humans.
Of course.
don't
Which Deputy
feel
of
so-
Detention note is not a human, so
Well,
he's still
it's
alive.
Vidalkin. That's what he was in the tank on, was trying to figure out how much damage he takes next turn and can he shove this turn. That makes a lot of sense. I
Yep.
like the way that broke for him. It does also shrink the Seasoned Pyromancer.
It does. He is a human, but he also held the Seasoned Pyromancer back. Like he's just sitting at home.
Yep.
So Mirren Crusader. Here's your choice here. Here's your choice here. So, and this is kind of where I would have went. Is you're blocking with both. Your Mirren Crusader does kill Bloodbraid Elf for free. It is a green card.
Yeah.
And then Tarmogoyf just gets chumped.
Yeah.
But you are no longer in the driver's seat as the humans player because now you have a 1/1 double strike. As we mentioned earlier, like that is much less impressive.
It is. Top deck on a Kitesail freebooter for Corey Miller here.
Yeah, I don't know how relevant that is. I mean, you're probably just jamming the Reflector Mage.
Just going to set that Canopy land over there.
Yeah.
Play the Reflector Mage.
Yeah. I mean, you can bounce the Plague Engineer and then jam for 4, and he can't replay the Plague Engineer next turn.
Yep.
Puts him to 1. You just chump under Tarmogoyf.
He's bouncing the Seasoned Pyromancer?
Maybe because it can block the Mirren Crusader.
Okay. So then your outs are... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like this. It needs a lot of things to break his way for Corey here,
Yes.
but I understand that decision.
I mean, you have to play to your outs.
Yeah. And from here, we just spin the wheel on Bloodbraid Elf.
Yep. Yeah, there's no reason to do anything else.
There's a
Tarmogoyf. Well, it's still relevant because actually what you can do now is you can just... you can't attack with Tarmogoyf by itself. Your opponent's blocking it for free. But he can attack with Bloodbraid and Tarmogoyf and at least forces his opponent... Ooh, swinging with the Plague Engineer.
Yeah, it has Death Touch, so he's forcing the block here. So the Reflector Mage, or whatever is chump blocking the Tarmogoyf.
Tarmogoyf's still a 5, right?
Yes. We haven't hit an artifact yet.
Okay.
Or an enchantment. This is the kind of attack that actually like just creates confusion. At
Yeah.
face value, it looks favorable, but it's also confusing.
And then he's taking.
And he's got the bolt.
Yeah.
Terrific. Those are on the man. That was a terrific little sequence between those two. What
Yeah.
a good game 3.
That was. I'm glad we got to watch that. That was a good game.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we have, I believe we have about 5 minutes left in the round, and then our next round is the last round.
Excellent.
So,
And then a cut to top
and then a
eight.
cut to top 8,